Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Udonis Haslem sees Pelle Larsson being a Dan Majerle type guy for Miami Heat. Miami Heat legend Udonis Haslem had some massive praise for rookie second-round pick Pelle Larsson, comparing him to three-time All-Star and two-time All-Defensive player Dan Majerle. "I think he's gonna be the ultimate Heat guy," said Haslem. "I watched him take charges in practice. The way he competes on both ends of the floor, I see him being a Dan Majerle type guy for us." Majerle played for the Phoenix Suns, Heat and Cleveland Cavaliers over a 14-year NBA career. In the 1992-93 season, Majerle finished fifth in the voting for the Defensive Player of the Year award. He wasn't a major scorer. Majerle averaged just 11.4 points per game for his career, but he did have 3 seasons where he averaged over 16 points per game, and he finished top 3 in the league in 6th Man of the Year voting on multiple occasions. If Larsson, the number 44 overall pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, ends up having a long and productive career like Majerle, it would be a massive win for the Heat. During Summer League, Larsson flashed some of his skill for the Heat, hitting a game-winning shot against the Memphis Grizzlies to win the title in Las Vegas. Larsson finished that game with 16 points, 7-4-9 shooting from the field, 1-4-2 from 3, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal and 1 block. The Heat have struck gold in the draft before, and they've recently seen first-round picks Jamie Jaquez Jr. and Nikola Jovic become integral parts of their rotation. Haslem was an elite role player for Miami during his career, helping the franchise win multiple championships. He certainly knows what it takes to impact winning, and it appears that he feels Larsson could do the same for the Heat. Larsson is entering the NBA after a strong senior season at the University of Arizona where he averaged 12.8 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 3.7 assists per game while shooting 51.9% from the field and 42.6% from beyond the arc. Even though the Heat are looking to compete for a title in the 2024-25 season, it's possible that Larsson could earn a role as a rookie behind guards Terry Rozier and Tyler Herro in the rotation. Miami has played several undrafted players before, so it wouldn't be shocking to see Larsson, a second-round pick, work his way into Eric Spoelstra's lineup if he makes winning plays. The fact that Haslem is already praising the Heat rookie is a good sign for him going forward. Brooklyn Nets rumored as top destination for Miami Heat's Jimmy Butler. Superstar Jimmy Butler must prove himself worthy of a maximum contract extension, but the Miami Heat also need to show they are deserving of Butler. If the Heat underperform by missing the play-in tournament entirely, the 34-year-old could go elsewhere next offseason. A proposed candidate to sign Butler is the Brooklyn Nets, who kicked off their rebuild by trading Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks. The odds of him picking up his player option are slim unless he agrees to a max deal with the Heat beforehand, New York Post's Brian Lewis wrote. The 6-time All-Star is the most accomplished standout on that list not named James, and he likes Brooklyn, according to sources close to the player. This destination makes almost no sense, as the Nets signing a veteran forward to a maximum extension right after beginning a rebuild is illogical. Seeking to build up a core through trades and the NBA draft is a much more ideal route to success. The lone way Butler ends up in Brooklyn is if he's tired of competing for an NBA championship but instead wants to mentor a future superstar like Cooper Flagg. The incoming Duke Blue Devils freshman is the projected number 1 pick in next year's draft. The Miami Heat's Jimmy Butler took to social media on Thursday to introduce a new basketball shoe he is making in partnership with Chinese manufacturer Li Ning. The latest release is called the JB3. Butler bills the shoes in his post as handmade by me, JBII, vintage aesthetics created for fashion and power, on and off the courts. The video shows Butler crafting the shoes before placing them in boxes for stocking. He is wearing a mask to cover his face due to the fumes from the chemicals necessary to color the shoes. The first shoe together was much more difficult than I thought it would be, Butler said in the post. They steered me in the wrong direction, but overall we got the Unos right here. The website www.chinasportshop.com states the shoes are expected to be released in the United States in September. The shoes have a retail price of $299. Li Ning is calling the shoes Jimmy Butler JB3 and encourages the consumer to take the step. China Tour men's basketball game shoes. JB3. Handmade by me, JBII. Vintage aesthetics created for fashion and power, on and off the courts. Available now. pic.twitter.com/xf6x2rf5gq. According to its website, Li Ning Company Limited is one of the leading sports brand companies in China, mainly operating professional and leisure footwear, apparel, equipment and accessories under the Li Ning brand. In April, YouTuber The Soul Drop referred to the JBII shoes as the best basketball shoes on the market. Butler said the JBII is a more advanced version of the shoes, which evolved from the inaugural JB1 which Butler is carrying in the promotional video on X. According to one NBA podcaster, Miami Heat forward Jimmy Butler is the 12th best player heading into next season. Jason Timpf, the host of Hoops Tonight, believes Butler is close to being the player he was 2 seasons ago when Miami went to the finals. I actually think Jimmy is under the radar for next season, Timpf said. He's only 14 months removed from being the best player on a team that was 3 wins away from a chip. I think it's too early to write him off. Timpf pointed out Butler played in just 60 games last season. He missed the first-round loss to the Boston Celtics because of injury. He had a real good jump-shooting season, Timpf said. Jimmy Butler's basically a lesser version of Kawhi Leonard, who has been more available to his team. There are a lot of similarities. Timpf blames Miami for not putting enough talent around Butler so they can compete for a championship. Timpf said, "They've been the bouncer, and it's just unfortunate because had they invested more and been a little more aggressive to try and put more talent around this group, a group they very well might have gotten a championship. Especially, in one of the open seasons like 2021 or 2022. Yeah, Jimmy at 12, just don't write him off yet. I think he's got a lot of good basketball left in him." Jimmy Butler interested in one other team in Eastern Conference? As he prepares for what could be his last dance in Miami, Jimmy Butler may already be exploring his outside options. Brian Lewis of the New York Post reported on Saturday that the Heat star Butler likes the Brooklyn Nets as a potential free agent destination. Lewis notes that Butler can become a free agent in 2025 and has decided not to extend his contract with the Heat ahead of that opt-out. The Nets are in full-on rebuild mode right now, especially after trading away Mikal Bridges to a rival team earlier this summer. But that also means that they will have max-level cap space to utilize, particularly once Ben Simmons comes off their books in 2025. Brooklyn also has a number of quality young players aged 25 and under, including Nicholas Claxton, Cameron Thomas, and Day'Ron Sharpe, to work with. As for the 6-time All-Star Butler, 34, he is under contract for $48.8 million next year with a $52.4 million player option for 2025-26 that he can decline to test free agency. The Heat recently took a stance that might indicate their confidence in retaining Butler beyond next season. But if they ultimately fail to do so, the young Nets may be a surprise frontrunner for Butler's services. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.